Hmm. This light's a little bright, so let's get it down. My lights are playing up today. Hi everyone. Gonna say hello to everyone first. I'm gonna bring my guest speaker in after. My lights are deciding it's got a mind of its own today, so forgive me for adjusting my lights whilst being on a live, but I guess show business don't always go to plan. It's not working out, is it? Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to Free Flowing Thoughts. Tonight's guest speaker goes by the name of Sue Phillips. Sue is a psychic, medium and a shaman practitioner. And today we'll be discussing all things healing, medium and some live readings. How about that? So Sue, let's see if we can bring you right in. Hi everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Around with my lights. I don't know what's happening. Lights, please stop playing around with me today. Please. Why? Why are you doing this on my live? Hi, Sue. It's your energy. My lights are playing up today. What's going on? Have you started trouble already? How do I look in regards to lighting on your side? Because it doesn't.
No,
Are you sure?
yeah, you look fine.
Okay. How bizarre. Okay. Good evening to you, Sue. How are you, you beautiful soul?
I'm good, Silver. How are you? How are you?
I'm really good. I've been excited about tonight's live and welcome to some of my new viewers. For those who don't know, my name is Silver and this is Free Flowing Thoughts. Yeah, let's give a moment for a few people to pop on, but don't worry, this live gets saved in hope that Instagram is not playing up and it gets saved and people can watch it as they please after the live. So yeah. Okay, so Sue, let's start off by asking you a relaxing question, which is just, how has your day been? What have you been up to today prior to this live talk?
Okay, thanks, Sandy. That's really nice of you to say. We both look good, apparently. I've had a very busy day. So I started the day with a straightforward, a reading. So I did a reading which can consist of like using my psychic intuition. A bit of mediumship came in, and after the reading I did a 2-hour shamanic healing, which involved, I was aware that I was planning to do a soul retrieval. So this person has had a long-standing relationship with somebody who has been, well, the person felt really isolated in their life, that they had no friends left, only their partner.
Okay.
And this person said that he prayed to God because he was ready to kill himself. He was ready to take his life. He was feeling so down, and it was really odd what happened and transpired. Because I believe I'm a servant of spirit and God.
Don't tell us too much just yet. I'm just an introduction to you. We've got like a whole hour, and as I say, I'm going to unravel you like an onion, girl. Yeah? So just brief us. Don't give away the juice just yet.
So we did a shamanic healing, which involved a soul retrieval, and then I had someone else for, it just came for healing really, but I did the dowsing with it.
That's better.
Some clearance work. So I do clearance with pendulum and dowsing for people who can't use their own intuition. That, you know, you're awake, but you have to move your arms. So you feel a bit silly, but you get there in the end. Which goes from the age you are now all the way back with a specific issue, and then into past life. So it can clear it in an hour. Mega shit. It's really, really
wow.
Good. Did that, and then I did another reading, and then I did another healing session, which was a combo of sort of shamanic and the dowsing, and then it finished at 5 with another reading.
So you have been very proactive today, and here you are, gracing us with your presence. I'm just going to welcome people on. Hi, guys. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Pop on. Join us for the next hour. We're just going to be a nice, slow-paced vibration in today. This is Sue Phillips, psychic, medium, shaman practitioner. We're going to be discussing all things healing, medium, and if you're really lucky, Sue's going to share some live readings, just a little bit for you. Yeah, Sue?
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, see, we'll see. Just go with the vibe, yeah? So let me start with my, you're all right there, you're readjusting yourself.
Just readjusting my lights. Because I look a bit dark and...
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, mine's good now. Mine's good now.
I've got lighting. I've got nothing up.
Oh, okay. So let me start with, who is Sue Phillips as a soul? I'm going to just speak right as a soul. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm a mother of 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a retired mental health learning disability nurse of 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that old. I'm not 6. You can retire at 55, people. I assure you, I'm not quite 60 yet. So, yeah, we can retire early because of the stress. So I started that journey at the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that Spirit put me on that path. You know, it's like I was manipulated to be on that path because I wanted to be a French teacher.
Oh, wow.
And things, you know, like how things go, don't go to plan. And I left.
Is this who you are, or is this because I'm asking about who you are, and I always pinpoint at people without the attachments. As a soul, who are you?
I am a learning disability nurse, a mental health nurse.
Okay.
So that's I'm retired from that service, but it's part of who I am. That nurse is within me.
Okay.
And I find that a lot of my clients that come notice, because that's in, you know, my bio and stuff, that I'm a mental health nurse. And a lot of people feel relaxed with that because there's a lot of anxiety and problems with depression. You know, a lot of mental health that people suffer with who don't want to talk about it. So that's part of who I am. Mother of 3, retired nurse, healer really, soul healer, and that's who I am.
Okay. Okay.
I'm fun. I'm all about fun and humour in a nice sort of relaxed, supported way, really.
Thank you for sharing that. So where were you born?
Well, I can do the accent if you like. So I was born in the northeast of England, in Geordieland, just outside of Newcastle. And that's I'm Geordie, if you like. But yeah, so I came down to the Midlands when I was very young, 8. So I think your breeding of where you come from is still in me. Northern people, you know, they're very different, aren't they, from Southerners? And living, you know, being brought up near the sea. Being in the Midlands now, as I am in Kidderminster and Worcestershire, you know, we're nowhere near the sea, so that's strange. I do love the sea. I love the outdoors and stuff.
Me too.
I was born in Blythe in Northumberland.
That's where you're born. Okay. And what is the origin of your family? Are they all? Is there any other background, cultural or countries that they're from?
Not countries, but Celtic. My dad is Cornish. So I have a real so there's my mum up here, and there's my dad was down here, and then my dad went to the north, and everybody, that's how he met my mum. So I have a lot of pull to Cornwall. My sister, I have a sister who lives in Cornwall, and it's like my sort of shamanic home. I did my shamanic training in Cornwall, and some of it in Colombia actually. But Cornwall's like a spiritual home, you know. But
I heard it's beautiful there. I've heard it's beautiful in Cornwall.
Cornwall is beautiful, but people tend to overlook the northeast coastline where I was born. That coastline on the sea is it's cold, you know, people can't go swim, you know, it's not like being in Cornish seas, but it's very beautiful for walking, and there's some really beautiful coastline in the northeast of England, so don't miss it out. Be a horse if you like a walk.
Nice. So tell us, what was you like as a child?
It's going to surprise you when I say I was very chatty and talkative.
You was very chatty, did you say?
Yeah, it's going to surprise.
Why would that surprise me, Sue? Tell me. Tell us. So you was very chatty. What else?
Yeah, very chatty, very friendly, just very, you know, like I am now, really. Very chatty, outgoing child. I used to have, you know, people play act when they're little.
Yeah.
I remember.
Sorry.
It's only since because I'm a hypnotherapist as well, so I do past life regression. So I see past lives and stuff in people when I read them. And I sort of realised that when I was little, pretending to be Richard the Lionheart with my sword, that it probably was a past life I was remembering. Because I was 6 in the northeast of England, so I doubt if I've seen it on the TV, and I doubt if I've read it in a book.
Well, we must be in the same boat, because in my head, I'm a billionaire with a billionaire husband. So maybe it's my past life too, or my disillusion. So, okay, how would your family and friends describe you? As in now as a person, as an adult now, versus your, being a child. How would you be described?
I think they all think I'm a bit sort of quirky, zany, loud, out there. You know, I am unusual. You know, I'm a bit different. You know, I suppose to the
What
average.
makes you unusual? What makes you different and unusual in your opinion?
I suppose my gift. You know, and my willingness to share my gift. I think a lot of people, you know, have fears about gifts, don't they, and don't want to be different. And I've sort of dove into it really rather than run from it. And I think that's what's happened in my family. I think there's people with gift in my family, and everybody's like, "Oh no, don't go there."
Mm-hmm.
So
I resonate.
yeah, I've explored it. You know, took the scab off of it and had a good look in there, and yeah.
So there's no one else in your family that has these
Yeah,
particular types of gifts, I
yeah.
mean, that has admitted to, should I say, or chose to develop, just yourself.
I, I, both sides. I mean, I trained as a healer, a spiritual healer. I practiced on my mum, and then because I practiced on her, it sort of awakened her, opened her, and so she's already trained as a healer. So she's an amazing healer, my mum. My dad's got that gift, you know, he knows he's on the phone, but he poo-poos it, so he thinks, you know, he says it's all a load of rubbish. But then my sister, everybody in the family have got, my daughters, you know, my kids all have a bit of it. But I think growing up with a mum that does it, it's like, oh, you know.
So she does it. She's still practicing.
No, nobody practices, and I practice. It's only me that actually does it for a job, but they all have a gift. My sister used to come to my circle. I teach, so I have a development circle on a Tuesday at 7:30 on Zoom. So you can hook in with that through any of the social media that I'm on.
Yeah, we're going to go through all of that before the end as well, and all the details. So let's get into that now, because I as an introduction, those who has joined my life, I never like to get straight into the topic, because I just think that like when I have other guests on here, it is primarily about what they do, and I want to know who they are, because we have too many attachments that strips away from who we are as a soul, I think. So I like to always take that time to say, who are you, where are you coming from, and then go into all the attachments that we've labeled ourselves, because it's what we do, isn't it? So let's go into those labels now then, get a bit one layer deeper within the onion.
Yeah, yeah.
So in regards to what we call gifts, I think there's a difference between gifts, talents, and what we choose to involve ourselves in. I think not everyone that does what you do, I don't think everyone is a gift. They've just gone and dabbled, and now they know how to do some things, and they call themselves healers. So versus that, how young were you when you experienced or was evoked by what you classify as a gift, and what was that gift?
Okay. Well, I was just thinking about what the words that you used at that moment, and I'm just thinking about exactly what you've said, because I think we are all born with an application to be sensitive and to have. I think it's a sixth sense. And I said to a client today, that you went to study it, didn't you just know it already? Because I've studied it, I've done application in mediumship, everything. And I said, well, it's a bit like me turning up at the local hospital to say I'm going to do the surgery, the brain surgery for the day, and asking them to gown me up. You know, I possibly could do brain surgery, but I'd probably make a really bad job of it, you know? I'd probably kill somebody. And it's like that, isn't it? We're all born with a ability, a sixth sense, but
that's very different, though. I would say that's very different, Sue. I think it's like having woman's intuition. Allow me to interrupt. It's like having woman's intuition and somebody else saying, I have a gift. So for an example, I can say, I have a talent. I can write. I'm a published writer. I can this, and which I am. But on the flip side, I also have dormant abilities that I do not practice. I didn't develop it. I didn't go looking for it. It's been there. So I call that a natural born gift. That's underdeveloped because I haven't chosen to develop it. Do you understand the difference?
I think I do. I'm not sure you do. And I'm going to
explain. Yeah, I definitely get what I'm saying. I definitely.
I know what you're saying, but what I want to say to you is what happened to me. So my innate gift was suppressed. So we work with our ancestors. So whenever we do anything, we're working 7 generations back and healing 7 generations forward. So in my family, it's been suppressed. The gift has been suppressed. Either that we've been killed, hung, drowned, or whatever.
Wow.
So when we come into it, I've been born into this suppressed feeling. So how it came into me was just as you said, as an intuition, as a woman's intuition. So this is what I teach. So you can develop that woman's intuition. And some people develop a gift, do they, incorporate and find their gift, and others aren't that good. It's like I was just explaining. So my development and the first memory I really have of it, but I think, we have them all our life, from the minute we were born. But I remember sitting on a bus with my grandma, and I remember thinking that man's like Father Christmas, and he made me feel cosy and warm. So I got off the seat at the age of 5, 6, and went to sit with him. My grandma was very upset, not knowing the man. Susan, come here. And I remember looking at another man on the bus, knowing he would hurt me. I just had a feeling he wasn't a nice man. And that was it. That was my first of this ability to read people.
Absolutely. I can relate. I do that a lot. So let's go back to the question that I kind of wanted to ask is, how young were you when you first realized that you had a particular gift? Even if you couldn't articulate it as young as you were, when did that start for you?
Well, I think I was, I was quite old, really. I started in my teens, I suppose. Having weird shit happen to me, dead people. And someone advised me to go to a spiritualist church and to talk to the medium there, and they'd help me. So I did. I think I was around 18 then. I sort of had a few years of feeling a bit scared of it all. And then I was watching the medium work at the church, and I was seeing purple lights above people's heads. And every time I saw a purple light, that's where the medium went. Next to it. So I was obviously tuning in before she was going there as to where the spirit wanted her to work. So I don't know why I said to her, I see lights around people's feet, because I was seeing them around their head that day.
Wow.
She said, oh, you're slumming it. You need to bring the light up to the head. And it was like a blow to my heart. It was harsh, the way she dealt with me. So I didn't really speak of it for a good while, really, until I found in my 20s, after my son was born, a friend bought me a book, Barbara Brennan, The Hands of Light, which started a healing journey. So, yeah.
So so that definitely sounds like a natural born gift to me. That's what do you know what I mean? Not everyone has that. It's things that people go and it's become a trend and everyone's an oracle. And I'm being honest with you. And I know the difference between someone who's born with it and develops it and someone who just takes it on as a practice. So clearly you were born with that. So then what led you, go ahead.
You can teach, I teach tarot. You can teach.
Yeah, that's different. That's totally different. Culturally, that's
read the cards to read something. And I've had people say, I'm not psychic, and I know they're not psychic.
Yeah.
Read the cards. Yeah. They've got a bit of intuition. So I think that's what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tarot cards, people learn that they actually go do courses. That's very, very different. I mean, I'm from a mixed cultural background. My father's Dominican, mother's Jamaican. And obviously I've had multitude of different cultural friends in my life. And there is a massive difference. There is. You have that granny that's never studied anything. She can just touch you and things start happening. These are people that are born that way. Or even ancestrally, maybe they had wizards or witches in their family and it wasn't actually a good. It depends. We can get into that a bit later. So then after you realized that you had that gift, what then inspired you to fulfill that path? Let's go there.
It was that book, being given that book. It was like a Bible to me. It just opened up this world of auras and energy and made so much sense about what I was feeling and seeing and sensing and, all of that stuff. But, visiting spiritualist churches, being aware of spirit, have them pester me and bother, and try to talk to me and interact with me. So I just felt the call. It was just a deep, this is a deep inner core calling. I just felt I had to do it. Just had to do something about it. And everything spiritual has drawn me, and everything I try to learn, I can do. Anything spiritual, the spiritual bent. If I try and learn, it's no problem. I can really just find my way into things. So it's been I've loved the journey of learning all about spirit, and there's so much to learn about how it works.
On the path of spirit, we know there's a difference between spirituality, spiritualism. There's the slight differentiations mean something very different. I don't think people are aware of that. So again, when I say I'm a spiritual being, obviously of the light, you get people that practice dark spirituality, which is nothing of the light. It's a different kind of worship and ritual, and it's not from the same sides. So allow me to ask you, what's the difference between being a psychic and a medium? Let's get into that.
Okay, that's an easy question, and it's a good question, and it's a question I have to explain to people quite a lot, because not all psychics are mediums.
Right, share some of that with us. Let us know the ins and outs of what that really means.
So when you hear the term psychic, that means that we're reading your aura. So we have a physical body, and then we have the energy outside of our body, and that is your auric field. And everything that has ever happened to you in your life, and your past lives in my case, because I read that, but some people can't read the past life in your auric field, but I can, and everything in your auric field can be read. So I was healing a guy once, and he came to healing, and I said, "You've come on the bus today?" And said, "You sat by a lady with a wicker basket on your lap." He said, "How did you know that?" I said, "Because you brought her energy with you, and you brought her anxiety with you." I said, "That's not for you. You know, need to do right." So I taught him protection, how to protect your energy from when we're in spaces. So that's psychic. And mediumship is when we speak to spirit, when we speak to people who have passed over. And
where I come from, we call that spiritualists, those who tally with the dead, which I don't.
Well, the churches, you know, that's what you go to. You go to a spiritualist church to hear messages from people who have passed over. And there is a major church in England, which is called the Spiritual National Union, and they've got 7, I don't know what they call it, it's the 7 agreement or something about the 7 rules of spiritualism with the Spiritual National Union. Now, I trained with them at the college at Arthur Findlay College, but I didn't do their exams because I don't like their doctrine. They're too rigid. You know, you have to behave in this way, you have to give a message in this way, which is great for your education, and really they get the stuff out of you, how to link, how to work, how to understand what you're doing, and a lovely routine. So I'm accepted in their churches because I work to their standard, but I don't work to their doctrine.
You know what's interesting about what you're saying, and I'm always reflecting on cultural differences and racial differences, how we practice these same things we're discussing, but how it's practiced. Do you know, no one from, I would say, the Black origin that I've ever heard of personally, please correct me in the comments box if you can correct me and say any different, has gone to study how to develop these gifts. I don't know one person I've ever heard in 44 years of anyone from the Black culture that goes to study how to practice their natural born gift. But yeah, I've noticed other racial cultures, Caucasians, they go and they do these things and they go to study and they develop. We never do that, and that's probably why we call it a natural born gift. Never. I know nobody. That's amazing. But everyone I speak to is Caucasian, has studied, got qualifications. It's very bizarre. Do you not think?
I think because it's part. I know Black people who have studied.
Is this the new age people, not the old age people? This has to be new age.
Because having mixed and spent a lot of time with Afro-Caribbean and Jamaican, people, and knowing a little bit, I would say, I've mixed with them all my life, but I know a little bit about their culture. Yeah. And it's part of your life, Caribbean.
That's what I'm saying. It's a natural gift. We don't go studying it. Yeah.
It's part of your life, how it works. And I find it, sometimes the culture, the Jamaican culture of, it's a bit, I don't want to be rude, but it's like they're always on the negative. It's like something bad's going to happen because somebody's going to do something to something. Everybody's using stuff against each other.
Can I tell you why that is?
Yeah.
Being half Jamaican, I'll tell you from my perspective what that's about. Unless you are from a dark source, we do not promote those practices. So we are weary of who we eat with, who we sleep with. I'm being real. You might find, maybe because you said you've experienced for us, it is very negative that all these type of practices, for those, unless they meet someone, again, and it's a natural born gift. So we're not going to say like, oh my God, my friend's a witch, whoop-hoo. We'd be like, burn that. We don't entertain it. So you're going to have a lot of, we don't really eat from just anybody. You may find that the man is very weary of where he leaves his underwear around the woman he sleeps with. There's a lot of, and so it comes across as very pessimistic and very defensive. But that is because we do not promote your lifestyle, what you practice. That's all that's about. Literally, that's all it's about. So when I say we don't study, I don't mean they don't research and educate themselves, those who have these gifts. What I mean is to go to college or uni and become a part of the full moon circles. And I've never in my life, we just, it's not, you know, new age, definitely the new modern day people that it's become a trend. Everyone's an oracle, if you know what I mean, but never. Granny or granddad or grand would never, it would just be like, rub this on that, put this on that, okay, the child's better. No studies, it's a natural born gift. So it's just interesting. So I don't think it's a Jamaican thing. I think for you, maybe, because that's all you've had exposure to. But maybe, you know.
In an offensive way, but I've had experience of that. And I've also had experience of them, you know, appreciating my gift and being part of that, you know, and how people have embraced it. I've had,
is that the Jamaicans are you speaking of?
Period of time I've had it said, you're with the light, you're with God. Look, it's like it took them like 3 months to figure
Do you see the difference? You have to have said you're with the light or they're not going to deal with you.
You're with the light and you're with God.
Yeah.
It's okay, she can do the healing, she can do the healing, you know. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
How interesting. So let me skip a big part as we're talking about that, and you've spoke about partnership. I'm just going to go forward to go back. How do you break the ice to potential partners that you are a medium and psychic? How do you break the ice? Because it's not, you know, my culture, they'd probably not date me at all if I was you.
It's so funny because I've always had this thing that, because I've been a single mum, I brought all my 3 kids and stuff and had problems, difficulties in relationships, only seem to do 5 years. So I have spent time on dating sites. And what I used to do years ago, I would never mention being a mental health nurse, never mind a psychic medium, because they'd run a mile. So then I started,
really? Mental health, it's a great job.
No, people used to, oh God, about that. So then I got a bit older, older, more mature, so I would just say that I'm a mental health nurse, and if they didn't like it, tough. And then it got to the point where I was just thinking, you know what, if they don't like me being a psychic medium, that's fine. They can, you know, go and do one. But it does have, you know, people do get very wary about it, but I think the more comfortable I have been with my gift and myself, the easier it's been for me to say that. So a lot of people, you know, when my last partner, I met him on a dating site, and it was like part of the thing that drew it, because he was looking for an Aquarian spiritual woman. He'd actually asked spirit for an Aquarian spiritual woman. So when we met, he said, what's your star sign? He was an astrologer, and I said Aquarius. And I put that I was a psychic medium, blah, 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 mental. And he said, we got lots in common. So that, for him, it was a plus.
So the thing is, he put the lots in common based on his theory, but in reality, were you a good match?
Well, I'm not with him anymore.
No, but that doesn't mean anything, though. No, can I say something about that, right? And I want people to listen to this. For example, if you said you met your soulmate or your perfect match or your twin flame, your rekindled whatever from a different place, people expect, and I need you to listen to this, viewers, for you to still be with them forever. And people put down your experiences, okay? So your perfect partner could have just been sent to you for a season. Doesn't mean he wasn't for you. And I feel like we are in a culture where unless you're married forever, people do not value your relationships.
People couldn't, that was the time, you know, we did it and that was it. And there's a lot learned between the two of us, and it was great, and now it's done. Moving on.
But you know what I mean? I think I needed to say, I feel like unless you're married for a billion years, people don't value that. You can meet somebody and they were perfect for you for that season, and you was meant to either grow or learn or become celibate and nun or a priest or whatever it is, but it doesn't mean they wasn't your soulmate or twin flame, that was for that season. There's no predictability. It's a gamble, right?
Well, if we all learn from each other, each and every
Yeah.
you learn from me, I learn from you, and it's always that way, two-way street. So if what you've come together to learn has been acquired and met, then it's time for it to end. You know, I think our culture, you know, in our age group now, and I'm older than you, but like in my parents' generation, women couldn't leave their husbands because, you know,
Exactly.
So many women would have not stayed in marriages.
Yeah.
But they did, and that was that culture, that was that time. But now we don't have to, and it's not the culture now. You know, we can commit. But I feel I agree with you. You know, and I went on a spiritual journey, and I do want to get it right. And I would like to have a partner that, you know, can last me and have that shared connection with for the rest of life and stuff. But that's, you know, that's up to spirit, really, isn't it? And I've requested what I request. You put the waters in, don't you, and wait for it to happen.
You know, interesting. I'll say this as a side note before we proceed. And then I'm going to give you a moment to have a sip of wine, water, and say hi to everyone in the comments box that I'm sure wants to ask you questions. Also, please feel free. You know, I find it really interesting. I do honestly think that we say that people are a lesson or a blessing, okay? And sometimes it's neither. It's just an experience, and they don't actually have a box. Maybe you've never experienced adventure in your life, and someone, I mean, for example, someone on my page, and she said that she flew across the world, okay? She met a guy on a dating app, I think, or somewhere like that, and he said to her, how daring are you? She's like, fucking daring, yeah? And she flew across the world hundreds of miles, she was saying. And she said she had the best 5 days of her life. Now imagine, she's lived a full life. But that was the best 5 days of her life. He wasn't supposed to be a 6th-day love or a 7th-day.
Yeah.
And that might be all she needs for the rest of her life. What have you got?
So as you were speaking, I picked the angel card. And
well, that's the tattoo I've got on the back of my neck very recently, just so you know.
Truth. The girls speak the truth.
Yeah, so I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just sharing with you that even if you have a moment with somebody, we know it can hurt sometimes because you long for that thing now. Enough's enough. Come on, God, stop messing about. I get it. But what I have noticed is that some people like yourself and maybe others like myself, for whatever we are about, gifts, not whatever, sometimes you may, as you know, perhaps attract a lot of broken people. It doesn't mean because you are mirroring that. This theory that people have of you always attract who you are, you don't. You know, you don't always. Sometimes you are the person that's there to heal people through love, and they move on and you are left still wanting because you are the healer. You are the first aid kit, and it is what it is.
I've been doing
your face expression.
I've been doing a lot of shamanic ceremony this past few weeks with a Colombian shaman I've worked with in Colombia in the Amazon, and we've been looking at the medicine wheel and the divine masculine and feminine, and it's been really interesting learning. And part of what I came out of that was that sometimes we as women bring the divine masculine to the man. And we in that bring that healing for them to see and to know and feel. And sometimes men bring a woman, the divine feminine. And that was a real, it sort of sat with me really nicely. I really liked that. And I think sometimes that's what's happening. Sometimes
you understand, I get that.
Men, men need us to be that strong, woman.
And sometimes they don't, because I've been hearing men say they want to see the femininity back because we're losing it.
But I think the whole thing about the divine femininity, that the men have to or need to sort of try and embrace how we are so connected to Mother Earth. We are part of the divine mother. We give birth. We bring forth just as she brings forth, and through that we're linked to the moon and the lunar cycle. So our moods and our ups and downs are part of the Mother Earth cycle.
Absolutely.
And when men go, oh God, it's her time with a mum. They're not honouring, you know, who we are and what we are. So that in the divine masculine needs to honour the divine feminine and vice versa. And we're not going to get there by not understanding those simple things, you know? Not honouring those simple things and honouring that without the man's seed, we cannot give birth. It's all about, oh, I carry the baby, you know, we've got the wombs and we carry the baby, you know, that stuff. You know, well, how would you have a baby without the man's seed? Without the, you know, how would Mother Earth give birth to a tree without the seed?
Yeah, I was told that the other day as well, so I know that's true. Well, I'll say this before, guys, please feel free at this point to add comments in the inbox, to ask Sue anything before, whilst we take a moment. But yeah, I would say this before that moment, which is, sometimes the greatest healers, which even could be a regular person who just knows how to love, long to be healed themselves. It's like a rescuers who long to be rescued, and goes into all this counseling, psychology, and all this kind of, you know, fostering field, I always say. So even the greatest of healers of any repertoire sometimes just longs for that healing themselves.
It's not, Silver, it's not sometimes, and it's not somebody, it's everybody.
But it's not everybody. I would not believe that everybody needs to be healed, but not everyone's gone through trauma. Unless you're talking about past lives, and you're going to go to that, but not everybody's suffering with trauma.
I didn't say you were healing from trauma.
All right then. What would they need to be healing from?
You're from life. You know, we come here, and we all have stuff to learn, to heal. We all have our shadow. So you're saying that, you know, we don't have a composite of light and dark within us. We all have the light and dark within us. We're all working.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but it is a perception of how we handle life. Not everyone's going to feel the way we feel, so I don't know if everyone needs healing.
Silver, we don't need dramatic trauma to need healing, you know? We don't.
Oh no, that I get. But what I'm challenging is, we have a perception and we can't spread that to everyone. It'd be wrong for us to speak for the masses when everyone's not here to speak for themselves. So what I'm saying is, you don't need to have trauma to be healed, but looking up what healing is. I mean, okay, give the definition of what healing is, and then we can break that down. But not everyone needs healing.
Yeah, you're talking about perception of healing.
Yeah.
You know, that is, you know, that's a limited perception of healing that you've got there. That you think that, oh, you need, if you're traumatized, you need healing. That's it, finished.
But that's what I'm saying. I've allowed you to correct that. So what I've moved on in saying is, if you describe the definition of what healing is, it will make sense to what we're both saying, which is just a difference of opinion.
We're all, the point I made earlier was about, you know, if you look at the yin and the yang.
Right.
Light and the dark, and we have the dark spot in the light, and we have the light spot in the dark. So
right.
We're all, I mean, we're all working within our shadow and within
our course. And yeah, of course.
Some of us are oblivious to our shadow. Some of us
are
blind to the shadow because we're walking in it. We've got no idea.
Right.
It's like being on the left-hand side of the road when the sun is shining on the right. We do not know that we're in the dark. We're just
okay.
In the dark. So, do they need healing? I would say it would be lovely for them to meet somebody who would say, why don't you come over to this side of the road? It's really warm in the sunshine. And they'd go, oh,
okay.
You know, so to me, that simple act is an act of healing.
Absolutely. And healing in definition via...
I won't come to your darkness, but you can come over here to the light.
Oh my God, yeah. But I'm just going to read you very briefly, Google's version of healing, okay? The process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. So what we're actually saying is, everyone in the entire universe has a level of unhealthy. If we're going to say that everyone needs healing, is that what you're agreeing to then?
Well, I think some people deal with their shadow and they keep it controlled, locked away.
Right.
And then what we would say that, you know, you look at people with, I'm a mental health nurse, so I might come out with a label or two here. So you look at somebody who's controlling nature because they, you know, they're locking something down. Very busy, can't sit down, perhaps a little bit OCD, you know, like busy.
Of course.
What are they running from there? Now they're functioning.
That I agree. Their own stillness. That I agree.
But there you go.
Yeah, no, that I agree. But what it is with me, I have to accept, which is why I challenged your point, that my opinion is not everything and neither is yours. There has to be, do you understand? Me and you are just two individual people in this massive universe, so our opinions cannot be the only solid ones, which is why I threw a pebble in the pond. And then I thought, okay, let's take it away from me and you and go to the multitude of Google. Yeah? Because the point I'm trying to make is not everyone has a wound. So now I'm going to, just for the record.
You know Google's right, don't we?
Google lies as well. I know that, yeah. But personally, this is my way of, not everything is Silver's world or Sue's world. There's got to be other opinions of other experiences before us and after us.
Of course there will be. But in a spiritualist concept, if you believe in ascension, if you believe in life after death, and if you believe that the soul goes on and lives again, you will believe that when we were here on earth as physical beings, that we're here working on getting better, to ascending. So
of course. That's why I actually added, unless you meant generationally. That's exactly why, because obviously if you're sometimes reliving your mother's or your father's or pain or trauma or generational curse, that's why I added that, because I knew why I said to you what I said. So just to round that part up, it also says, where am I? Have you disappeared? Hang on a minute. Primary healing, diseased, wound, injury. So it goes into, that's why I said not everyone has suffered that.
Do you know what primary healing means?
Well, break it down. I'd love to hear, because I'm just reading it from this.
Yeah,
No?
Primary.
So there's a whole list of examples, but I'm only giving two for an example.
Okay.
But yeah, so, you know.
Do you know what primary healing is?
No, please break it down for us.
Google is talking, don't need breaking down. You've got signs all over the country with directing the primary health care. So it's the first point of service for people who are ill or suffering. So you go there when you bang your head, cut your toe off.
Yeah.
The healing we're talking about is esoteric. It's deeper. It's soul healing. That's my job. That's where.
Of course.
The primary healing is that place where you go and you get something poked in your eye, or you need your finger sewn.
But you see why I gave that? It's a different definition. That's the whole point. Somebody else's theory. But anyway, so your belief is everybody then needs soul healing, correct? Your personal opinion, which is totally fine to have your opinion.
I don't think I wouldn't say everybody needs it. You know, people.
That's exactly. Well, we contradicting ourselves now.
And they're happy living their life. That's fine. They're happy living their life.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's why we're all different. That's why there's people living on the streets. That's why there's people living in mansions. That's why we've all got different walks of life, and some
absolutely.
Some people want help to get out of that. Some people, in all walks of life, people have sadness. People have heavy soul.
Yes.
And
of course.
Born with a heavy soul from a past life. Sometimes we're born in relationships. That's soul healing, you know?
Absolutely.
You don't know how to deal with that. You can't go to primary care. I was a North Board member. I worked on primary care groups. I was one of the first in the country to be a learning disability nurse in those groups. They were all general nurses, telling doctors how to, literally, they had groups of strong, voicey women. I've never been in a room with so many loud, opinionated women in all my life, because we need to stand up to these GPs. So primary care is all about delivering services. And I used to say, you need a healer in the practice. You need and they said, oh, well, heal me, I'm fat, this guy said, heal me, I'm fat. And I said, your weight problem's to do with an overbearing mother, because your mother's suffocated you and you paid yourself to keep her away from you. He was just flawed, his jaw dropped.
So as you read other people and you're able to heal other people, am I right in thinking you cannot do the same for yourself?
No, that's not right. No.
Because I've often heard of psychics saying we can't tell our own future. We can't necessarily heal ourselves in that way. I've heard this many of years, people saying that.
Really? Okay.
Remember, I'm not psychic, so I'm only repeating what I've heard. Yeah.
It is hard sometimes to see what's in front of you, isn't it? It's hard for everybody to see what's in front of them. And sometimes that's because we're going through it and we need to go through that process. As an intuitive psychic medium, shaman, and all the things I practice, I have an understanding and a feel for my own energy. So the longer and the more I've worked, the more I've experienced, you get that, you listen to it. You know, that's not good for me, that's good for me. And sometimes we do things that aren't good for us.
Right. Yeah.
And you can read, you can heal, you know, you can work. I've worked, my healing path and journey has been my whole adult life. That's what
Yeah.
have been guiding me to do this, to do that. It's all about my own personal healing, my own evolution. So I can share that in my practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as you see, I'm speaking to you as an individual. I will not brush you with the same brush. And that's what people have to understand. If I'm challenging you or challenging something, because it's the individual, I can't say all psychics are the same, because you're not. Culturally, you're not going to be the same as other people, and how you practice stuff and how you see things. It's like me, I'm intrigued with Buddhism. So with Buddhism, for an example, hang on a minute, let me just finish my sentence. With Buddhism, for an example, they will talk about self-inflicted the journey. So do you see, and that's why I spoke about, does everyone actually need healing, based on, even, I'm not a Buddhist, but on the theory of it's self-inflicted. Now, I'm not saying you agree with that, or we have to agree with that, or I agree with that, but it's just looking at other people's theories, that there's more than just our opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's their opinion. They live in that
Yeah.
life. You feel and understand that opinion and you feel the draw to that, that's good.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by a difference. That's all it is.
Well, so am I, but I'm busy healing in my own way.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I can disappear up any black hole and waste. How many hours a day do we all waste on social media looking at that shit? Do you know?
Yeah.
So you know, I'm channeled, I'm guided by my guides, and I work very differently to a lot of people I love and work. You know, I work with other spiritual people. You had Lisa Bardell on, a really good friend of mine the other week. She works.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's just such a gentle spirit. Lovely.
Amazing healer. But we work differently. But the goal is the same.
Definitely, yeah.
Very similar work. You know, messing about with people's souls and healing them. You know, getting in there and shifting shit, and it's very healing, but. We're different, and we have to follow what draws us, you know, what draws that person. And I do, you know, I do understand a little bit about Buddha, and I've spent time in Buddhist countries. I've done a spiritual tour of Sri Lanka, actually. So the guide was like amazed.
Lovely.
What are you doing, madam? Madam, what are you doing? And I said, I'm meditating. You know, he's all trying to tell me about these spiritual places we were visiting, and I was just feeling it, you know, just. Come back, Dambulla Caves, you know, leave me here overnight. Absolutely amazing.
At peace. So do you want to take a moment to sip a drink or grab a breath while I check out some of the comments of what people would like to share? Is that all right? Yeah? Give you a moment to catch your breath.
No, I'm fine, I'm good.
You're good.
Seeking to be healed or needed to be healed. Of course.
I'm just sending some ways, and I'm gonna go down slowly so you can also look at it if you would like as well. So were you just reading something? Where are we? You have let me see, Rachel, that's Raquel Burton saying hi, Sue. And Kerry saying, amazing, talented lady you are, Sue.
Thank you, Kerry.
Let's go and some more ways. Right. Sandy says it's almost like it's become fashionable. That's my point, what I was saying earlier. And that's why I have to differentiate the difference between a gift and people that take it up as a walk of life. I know there's a difference. Social media has, everyone's an oracle. All the posts, I'm an oracle. I'm an oracle. I speak to them and I know they're not. I know they're not. It's like I've learned tarot cards now, you know, so that's why I am a host. I ask probing questions for a reason, and whether people want to take it defensively or explore what that really is. But I take everybody as an individual. Everyone's journey is so different. So there is my to black culture than Jamaica. There is my to black culture than Jamaica. Do you want to clarify? We spoke about her Jamaican partner she had. Do you want to clarify what you mean by that statement so we can, I don't know, explore that? Sandy, not sure what you meant by that.
I think when we were talking about that culture and you were talking about that culture, I saw that post come up. So I think she was just saying that's my culture.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's my Jamaican. I think she was. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah, correct us. Let us know. You have P, Zahida, hi Sue. It's Z, she says. And then you have so lovely to see you here and learn about your gifts. That's nice. Okay, you have a question from life's experience. So thanks for being here again. And ask, have you ever gave an animal a reading? Wow, that's an amazing question. Can you read animals as well as humans? Just a question. That's a great question.
Okay. Good question.
I couldn't have thought about that question, Sue. That's great.
Right. Last Saturday, I was working with a horse Saturday afternoon. So the horse was demonstrating like strange behaviours and looked like he was in pain. And that the owner had him just newly bought, and she was told he'd been diagnosed with stomach ulcers.
Wow.
So before she bought him, and the previous owner hadn't corrected, hadn't done anything with it. Anyway, they asked me to go and heal it, to give some healing to the horse. So I went, and it ended up, I did shamanic healing with the horse, which was interesting because it came up. I removed, like, the energy in his stomach came across to me like a snake, and I pulled the snake out, it was out, so I did all this communication.
Oh my goodness, wow.
But when I got there, he was very agitated, banging, kicking his stable. So I start to chant. I chant my native tribe guides. So,
is that your native language you're saying?
I'm not Native American.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
I work with this tribe, and I've had these guides since I was really young.
Wow.
So it's just grown. It was one guide, then it was the women, then it was the men. So it's just grown. But as I spoke to him, and I felt it was a woman from the tribe, not a man. It was like a really, you know how people are calm, like in a horse whispery sort of way. So and I've had horses, so I know about how to blow and how.
I love that.
Little bit. And the horse just stopped, and there was these women from the stables watching. And he just stopped and he just stared at me. Like,
wow.
He was listening, and he just like, wow. So I said, right, I'm in. I knew I was in with him. So horses, because when we had horses, I used to heal a dressage horse who'd had an injury, and he showed me, and he told me where he'd come from. That he was never good enough. I was never good enough. They always pushed me. I learned one thing, and then it was not good enough, and learn another thing, and on and on and on. He showed me these wrought iron metal gates. So I passed all the information on to the owner, and she said he was from Germany, and he was a dressage horse, like real competition standard. And she said they're very hard on their horses. They push them really hard. I felt like he wasn't good enough, but he loved her, and he was appreciative of her. The metal wrought iron gates was the place she bought him from. That was the gates that she went into to fetch him back. And I healed he had an injury on his hindquarter where he couldn't lift his leg. He had to swing his leg out. So I healed that. And she said he's never been able to, he lifted it, literally looked at us.
And this was instant healing. Wow, okay.
He placed it and she cried. And my daughter had
goodness.
It's great. So I used to heal a lot of the horses. And it changed my healing, being with those big, huge beasts. It was amazing. So
wow, that was a great question. Great question. Can I ask you? Can we? And please feel free to get your questions in the comments box, so Sue can choose to answer them when you're comfortable. Sue, does your psychic or medium abilities, is it ever provoked by colours? You mentioned purple earlier. Is it ever? Were you seen purple when you first started out? Are you ever provoked by colours or anything like that? A blue room, a yellow lamp? Does it ever provoke things inside of you?
Right. Okay. Let me answer it in this way. So
that weird question.
No, it's a good question. One of the different people, different spiritual people, lots of people get messages in colour. Colour means it's very powerful colour.
Right.
The pink you're wearing is the colour of the heart chakra. It's the higher heart. Green.
Oh wow.
The pink you're wearing is the upper higher heart. So my first experience was I went for a weekend with a load of women from the NHS. We were all stressed out, and we had this relaxing weekend over at Hale White, and I had some colour therapy healing. And I've never had this healing before, and she was healing, and I was just seeing loads of colours, like a firework night. It's like,
Wow.
And I explained to them what was going on, and they said, they all kept telling me that I had a really good gift, and they were like, I was saying other things about the property and different things. But that was a really, like, the first experience with colour. So when I meditate, when I was nursing, I used to come home from work at 6 o'clock and then have to go back out at 7 o'clock to do work with spirits. So I used to sit for 10 minutes just to tune in, get ready. And I know they show me green, and it's really ironic, really, green for go. So when I see the green, I know that I'm ready. But you talk
Oh, wow.
colours,
Okay.
colours influencing people is a very important thing, because it does influence our mood, and because each colour has a vibration, and everything in life has a vibration. Wood, metal, everything that's in existence vibrates, and we can change that vibration with the healing. So that's what healing does. It changes molecular structure.
Vibrations, of
Like
course, yeah.
ultrasound, you know, when we have ultrasound at the physio,
Yeah.
they just move, you know, it's just more acceptable to society to put a metal thing on and plug it into the wall than it is to have it stand there and use naturally. I find it common.
It's so true. That's so true. I mean, yeah, that's so bizarre. So in regards to your experiences and your healing and your practices, let's get to some juicy questions. Like, you spoke about healing horses. What is your strangest experience you've had? Then I'm going to also wrap that in with, have you had any scary, dangerous, or alarming experiences doing what you do?
Yeah.
Is that another weird question, isn't it? Do you know why I'm asking that? Shall I spill the tea? I'll tell you a little bit. Being exposed to different people, again, I say, that does what you do, from different cultures and racial backgrounds, there has been tremendous trauma and scary experiences people have had and had to have the courage to carry on doing their gifts.
Well, I had an experience that frightened me so much that I swore I was never going to channel a message from spirit again. And
Would you like to share a little bit about, are you comfortable to share that?
I was visiting a friend in Torquay. We've got 2 little boys, and she went to work, and I took the boys to a indoor play area because it was raining, and it was a converted church. Okay, and it was really, I felt uncomfortable because the church pillars were all painted rainbow, and I mean,
oh wow,
you might think that sounds nice, but it felt incongruous to me. I just felt disrespectful in the way that this, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. And I got talking to a woman about the book I was reading, and then we got talking about spiritual stuff. Anyway, she basically told me that she'd had a funny experience, and she talked about talking to a doctor about her experience, but she was telling me spirit had done something to her, they pulled her back off a chair and all this stuff.
Wow.
So I'm listening to her, and then I go back to my friends in the evening, and in the bed that night, a spirit entity came, and all I can say is, you know, that worst feeling when you've watched some really scary horror movies, and you're feeling really scared because you're like looking out for something.
Yeah.
It was there. There was something appeared.
Visually, sensation, or what was it for you?
Deep within your core, it felt the fear.
Wow.
Deep. It was really, I've never felt anything like this fear. And I heard this screaming and didn't know where the screaming was coming from. And it was like really top of my voice screaming. I was sharing with my friend. She has a little boy in the next door room. She said, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, "I'm having a bad dream, don't worry." But it was this entity, this spirit. And I knew it was from the woman that I'd seen that afternoon. I just knew that's what it was. So I didn't know how to handle that then. It was a long time ago.
That in your earlier days of developing, and
I was working as a medium, but it was my early days working in the churches. So I said, I'm not going to do it again. I really was too frightened to open myself up to anything can come in. So I went to the spiritualist church, as I normally, if I wasn't working, I would still go sometimes with my mum. And I was early, and they said somebody was working and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, the girl didn't turn up. And I told them the story that I was never going to work again, and I didn't, I had this fright. So the medium didn't turn up. So they said, can you do the service? You're going to have to do the service. There's nobody to do the service. So the whole thing about me never doing it again was out the window, and I stood in front of the congregation and gave the service, and I channeled spirit. And from that day, I've never looked back, but I learned how to handle that. I learned why that happened, how that happened, what to do about it, so I know how it feels. And it's not the first and the last time it happened. I've had it happen. So I've learned, that's what led me into shamanism, because I wanted to learn how to deal with negative entities, to remove negative entities, to deal with them, to help people remove them from themselves. That was the reason I trained as a shaman, because all the other stuff I knew how to do in shamanic practice, but that.
Can you just sorry to interrupt, can you just for the viewers also, and me also, what is the definition of a shamanist or shamanic or practitioner, as you would say? What is a shaman? What does that consist of?
I think
Basically,
you need to Google shaman, really. Google it.
I've heard of it, but I wondered what are, again, culturally the practices are very different. What is it for you?
Shamanic practice, like you say, every culture has their own shaman.
Right.
I'm from a Celtic origin of Cornwall, so it was good and apt for me I trained in Cornwall. That was the land and the earth my ancestors know. So each culture will have their own shamanic ways. Celtic ways, the South American, North American tribes are very different. The way they function. Shamans they work with the energy of the mother, the earth, the plant, so plant medicine, and all of the energies in the animal kingdom and everything else that's existing. So we work on all those levels, and we work in different ways, but it's using all of the energy and understanding the medicine wheel, and that's different for each culture, but it's the same. We all have a wheel of life, which incorporates the directions of the compass, which incorporates different energies. You know, has the cycle of life changes from springtime to summer to autumn to winter. These bring different learnings and different stages, and we choose in modern day society to ignore the nature, to ignore the times of nature. We don't hibernate, you know, when we're still all eating food that we should, you know, that is being grown in that season in our country. You know, this is how I believe shamanic practice is. It's working with mother, it's working with earth, it's working with you know, the sky grandfather, which is spirit. Every spirit is everywhere. So it's just like an in-depth way of working with all of life, really. Just
the aligned question to that. Is any of that practice aligned to working with the deceased, the dead, basically, and just speak that also, you know, like what do we call it? Oh my goodness, I've forgotten the name now. There's a name for it when you have what is it when you speak to the dead, but there's, you know, you have that table and you're calling to the dead. There's a name for it. I've lost it.
A seance.
Thank you. Is it tie into that at all?
No, seance has nothing to do with shamanic work. No.
I thought that some shamans also, depending on culture, then also deals with a lot of communication with the dead.
They do, but they don't hold seance. Holding a seance is
No. I know seance in itself is a different thing, but I'm just saying, just the connection of speaking to the dead. I thought, because I've done a research myself on that, and different cultures, that is a part of their practice in actually communicating and basically liaisoning with the dead as their shamanic work.
All spiritual work is working with spirit. So spirit of the land, spirit of guides and helpers are spirit. The shaman works with their guides. So I would work with my guide and your guide. So when people come to see me, my guides have already linked with your guides.
Yeah.
In my diary, it's all going on. You know, we're all chatting. All our guides have filofaxes, they used to say back then, you know?
That is so funny. Oh, wow. So before I carry on, as I look at time and wind down very slowly, is there anything that you would like to share that I haven't asked you before I go on to other questions? I'd like to give you that space to express something that I feel you may want to share. My intuition says pause. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to invite you to maybe say what you'd like to say.
I think only to say that, you know, the way I work and the way I function, I believe that spirit, God, whichever name you wish to give it, because it's all the same thing to me, bring people to the right people. So if you're finding a way to me, that's because I can help you with whatever it is you need to help.
What about if I'm here to help you?
What about you let me finish a sentence?
But I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there.
What about you let me finish?
Okay, go ahead.
So I believe that, you know, I don't know whether you've ever read read the Celestine Prophecy? You know, have you ever read the Celestine?
No.
So it's an old book. It's an old spiritual book, good book.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 insights. And I don't know whether it's the first or the second, but it's always
Mm-hmm.
talking about in meeting people, there's no such thing as coincidence. I have something, you have something for me. But we were talking about what I wanted to say, and you asked me what I wanted to say. And it's like, I'm not here to put people's arms up their backs to have healing, you know?
Of course not.
Our own journey and our own time and space. And I'm not one of, you know, you may need to see that person, you may need to see nobody. You may need to just sit in the field of the cows, you know, and that can bring you healing. And that's all. You may need to just meditate, sit by the sea and absorb the water. And that is what it is. And all healing, in whichever way you meet it and guess it, nature is the best form of healing. So in lockdown, people need to be walking out in nature.
Yeah.
And if you can take your shoes off, it's cold, but you know, you connect better and you ground better without your shoes on. But I just wanted to say that it's not like enforced, you know, I would never, I say that, enforce myself upon people, but I have given messages, like we were saying, we were just talking about it today really, I've given messages, I've been getting out the car after being working at the church, just going to go meet some friends, and was told to go to the chip shop, and I said, I don't want chips, this is by my guides, I don't want chips, I don't want to go to the chip shop. So I went to the chip shop, said, okay, I'll go. And I ended up giving a message to the guy in the chip shop and the girl in the chip shop from somebody in spirit. Now they didn't come to me, spirit took me to them. But they gave healing. You know, I didn't want chips, but I just agreed with spirit to go. And I explained about his brother that passed and that he paid for his funeral and that his brother wanted to thank him because they weren't speaking. He was the outsider in the family and died. And wanted to bury him, and this guy had done it. And he was like, jaw open. And he said, I was just telling these girls that 5 minutes ago. I said, that would be when the spirit dragged me from my car over to the ship. So, you know, I listen to my heart, which is connected to spirit, you know, and that's how I work. And I just wanted to say, you know, it's not about making people do anything.
Oh no, I don't, you know, I thank you for sharing that, because that's, you know, I felt like I needed to, my intuition said you wanted to share something. But naturally, I don't think anyone in their right mind thinks you go around forcing people to experience what you can do. That would be crazy even to even think that, wouldn't it?
On the topic, you know, we discussed everybody needs healing, and I think that's a very deep topic. You know, it
is, and I realized for me, it provoked you, and you became very defensive. Personally, is my experience when I said that to you.
Because I think I wasn't provoked and I wasn't defensive.
Okay.
Protecting was the fact that we don't know who's listening and we don't know their level of ability of understanding.
Exactly.
Which level we're talking about. So somebody might take that in the way, well, I don't need healing, I'm all right. You know, I'm happy to.
I don't take it that way.
Some people might think, I need healing, that's great, where can I do it, how can I, you know what I mean? You've got
right.
Long polarity, you've got a line from 0 to 100. It's just like, you know, it's like everything. There is a dimension of it, and people sit on there. And I just wanted to put that across because I think we're all working with our shadow side.
Yeah,
sometimes we need help with that. And that's the type of healing I was saying. You know, that can be talking to a friend, somebody directing you to counsellor, you know, just listening. You know, so that's healing to me. You know?
Absolutely, definitely a form of healing, definitely.
So that's what I wanted. I just
to share,
to make clear when you were addressing that point.
And that's why I paused and said, is there something you'd like to share? So thank you very much for sharing that with us. Allow me to clarify when I said what I said. Everyone's on their platform expressing themselves, or I guess inviting people to express for different reasons. If, you know, I'm very different with different lives. Sometimes I'm very more hyped up. It could be a Friday. Others it could be more therapeutic. It depends. Naturally, I'm going to probe or disagree with things I disagree, because naturally this is the free flowing thoughts, and it's about for us freeing our thoughts. So as you just said, that someone may listen to it and say, well, I don't need healing. In reverse, what I'm saying is people ought to listen to it and also understand not everybody does, and then have their own mentality, go and expand and research for yourself. And that's why I stressed it's just not about our opinions. It is more, there's so many more wiser people than yourself or myself who would say something totally different, you know? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just a difference of opinion. But what I'm saying is, this is not about anyone being defensive. It's about freeing your own thoughts. So that's, you know, that's all it is. So we don't have to be defensive about our own individual opinions, basically, is what I would like to emphasize.
Good.
That's all it is.
That's good. That's good.
That's it. So, you know, and that's what I wanted to stress, that, and that's the reason why I invite people to share their feelings in the comments box. If they have an experience, educate us. And what I want to go on and ask you is,
people are asking for readings.
would you still want to do a reading? I wasn't sure if you still want to do a reading. Do you want to do a reading?
Have a look and see who's asked.
Please feel free, and you wasn't obligated. It's just an option if you wanted to do it.
Who have we got? Who's that there?
Shall I go down? Did I miss? Shall I go back down?
Go to the beginning, because if we pick somebody from the bottom, somebody at the top's going to say, well, I asked, eh?
All right, so shall I go slowly? But please feel free to follow your own vibes, of course, Sue, and do as you would like. Do you see anything?
I've just picked the card of grace.
Shall I stop? Shall I carry on? Are you feeling anyone there?
Life experience, was it life experience matters was asking, I think.
Did I see him ask that? Let's have a look. I think he's the one that asked you about the animal healing.
Hi, Rachel.
Is there anyone here that would like Sue to do a reading for them? And naturally, after the live, please feel free to go to Sue's page, follow her page, support what she does, and Sue can take it from there.
Hi, Joy.
Did somebody ask? Did you remember anyone asking?
I did see somebody. I'm just going up there. It's almost like compassionable. There's some of that kind of.
And if not, perhaps, Sue, if you're comfortable with that, people can contact you directly and you can have your own discussion of how you go about doing private readings.
Yeah, I think there was an. Hold on. Can I have a reading, please, Sue? And that's from Life Experience Matters. That was the one I saw.
Yeah? Are you still there, Life Experience? Can you throw some hearts up or double send a comment so Sue knows if you still want her to do that?
Somebody was asking, can you block dark energy? Yes, it's, you know.
Oh, would you like to answer that?
Well, yeah, it can be as simple or as complex as you like. It all depends, really. But dealing with thoughts, which is energy, isn't it? You know, we have to be we're not only aware of other people's, but aware of our own, and how a thought can be like a magic. You know, it's magic, isn't it? We can create with our thoughts. So that's
absolutely.
So be thoughtful about how we use our thoughts in the word, in the form of the word, but also, you know, be aware of how we're experiencing other things. And a positive outlook is always really good for you know, deflecting. So people like, it's not going to bother me. You can see it bouncing off them, can't you? Sometimes we need a little bit more, and I teach simple, you know, like protection methods, and think about how we do it on a bit of a stronger, deeper level. So
I actually have a question from someone who, because some of my questions are posted by people in my inbox when they know what kind of guests I'm going to have on. So another question is, have you ever needed, last question of the night, have you ever needed to do any sacrifices based on, I think they mean spiritual sacrifices, based on the work that you do?
by using the term sacrifices, it implies, I don't know whether they're implied, I don't know.
They actually mean spirit. I know what they mean. Not like sacrifice what you got to minimize in your everyday life. I think they mean, you know, like in some theories of people that partake with selling soul and having to sacrifice and do a ritual, and I guess they mean, you know, did you have to do any sacrifices or spiritual rituals?
No.
I guess with a negative to maintain your, as well, maintain your.
I don't take part in that type of sacrifice.
But I wish they were here. They're probably going to watch the replay later, but they're not actually here to ask that themselves. So.
But no, I haven't partaken in any sacrifices of that nature. Other cultures, you know, and other religions, you know, partake in. We could have a whole blooming chat about that for a whole hour. But I haven't. all life is sacred. You know, I work shamanically, so if I find, you know, I you know, honour the animal. If there's an animal being gifted to me as rogal or whatever, you know, I honour that. So no, I don't partake. Sacrifices in our lives. Sometimes we have to make sacrifices, you know, for our gift, for our, you know, our sort of our devotion. Really, I suppose it's a little bit like that, isn't it? But I sort of moved on from that thought of, you know, I have to sacrifice a part of me to do the spiritual work. I can have everything, you know, it's fine for me to be, you know, an all-encompassed woman with a family, a relationship and everything. My life can, so I don't need to sacrifice anything. And I haven't sacrificed anything, and I won't.
Well, I hope the viewer who, well, not viewer here, the person who inboxed me can hear the response when you hear the playback to your question. So someone sent some hearts up. Was that a confirmation of the person who wanted a reading? Is that you, life experience? Because Sue was just sharing something there when you did it. Can you do it once again so we know before closing the line? Hmm?
It's I'm going to read for this lady, whoever it is, Life Experience Matters has been asking and engaging. So I've just picked an angel card. Yeah, I'm on it. Okay, hi. Nice to see you. Great. I just
Yeah.
a little angel card here. And it's really strange calling you Life Experience Matters. I don't know your Christian name, so do apologise. And you've got the card of adventure. And I feel like Spirit are telling you that it's time for your adventure. And I feel like you've been a person that supported other people in their adventures. You have supported so many people. They've given me 1, 2, 3 people, and their adventures have been started, and you've supported them with it, and you're sort of really ushering, Scott, hi Scott, ushering people along on their adventures, like really supporting them. But it's time for you to follow your adventure, you to have your time. And there's part of this, I think, Scott, that might make you feel a little bit anxious, might make you feel a bit, where to start, how do I do that? What's going on with my adventure? What is my adventure about? I've just got the card of intuition and temptation. So perhaps you get tempted to go one way, but that might not be the way you need to go. Perhaps you get tempted and lured away from your intuition. And that's part of your learning. But you definitely, if you go on your adventure, I've just picked this card, and this is all about material and spiritual prosperity. So this is all about you following your intuition for the adventure of your life, and that will bring you, and this is a material and spiritual prosperity. So it's not just spiritual prosperity, it's not just spiritual growth. We're talking about you gaining some benefit from following your heart. And you do your heartfelt stuff with everybody around you, but it's time, I feel like, you need to concentrate on you, Scott. So really, I feel like you need to, you know, pull a lot of your energy back in. And I'm not saying that you're disparate, your energy's there, but I think you give a lot out. So just give yourself some time for you, pack that case and go on that adventure, be it spiritual or otherwise. I hope it makes some sense, Scott.
Thank you so much, Sue. I hope that you enjoyed that. Be sure to follow Sue's page and support the movement. Sue, would you like to tell people, share what you do on a Tuesday and the other maybe retreats and stuff, or whatever you'd like to share, that you'd like to let people know what you do, where they can find you, your services?
Yeah. Scott's just said, thank you so much, it's so true. Scott, this is the fulfillment of your wishes. You can have what you wish for. You can have that dream. And there's, I haven't got my glasses on, Silver, what does it say?
Would you like me to, who are we looking for? Let me put on my 2020 vision.
Who's this Romeo Hot Boy? Romeo Hot Boy.
I can't see. Where is this? At the bottom?
Romeo,
Way at the bottom?
Second message up, Romeo Hot Boy.
Where have you gone? Okay, Romeo, would I be able to get a reading, please? Would you ask, Sue, do you want it to be general or whatever? Sue, take it away. You're the expert. Thank you, Romeo.
I am giggling about this, would you call it a handle, the name? You know, your Insta name? Romeo Hot Boy. That's so funny.
We hope you are a hot boy.
Yeah, whatever. Romeo, I think Romeo is a sensitive boy. And I think your grandfather communicates with you from spirit, and he's trying to guide you. And I'm not even sure whether you were close with him or knew him or didn't know him, but I feel like you've got a grandfather in spirit And he's showing me that he was quite tall with a pair of like, I don't know whether they're cords or trousers, but he's got a shirt and a cardigan on. So I think he would have been, that's his comfort cardigan in the house. That's the way he would have dressed. And there's a whole thing, Romeo, about your expectancy and your expectation of life or somebody or a relationship. And I feel it's more than just one relationship. It's like you've got this thing that you expect or you want, or, you know, why is it not happening? And I want to say that there's something, I've picked angel cards, which I'm using to guide your little reading, your mini reading. And there's something about you trusting. And there's something about you trusting. And I do feel like your lack of trust, or this thing that keeps niggling at you, and can you trust, and what can I trust in, and what do I dedicate myself to, and how can I throw myself into that? And I feel it's a karmic thing with you. I feel you've had that feeling about people since you were very small. So it's just, you know, about, I think you're a very old soul, and I think you've been around quite a lot. You know, what I mean by that is you've had many lives, and you bring that into this life. So perhaps it's a little bit about learning how to, you know, dig into that element of where you can trust or where you can't trust, and where that comes from. But that's the type of work I do in depth. When I would work with somebody, I would be able to go a little bit more deeper and to find where it is in the past life, or it's an ancestral thing. So just let me know, Romeo, if that is resonating.
Okay, we are about to close the live. We've been doing an hour and a half, and time is ticking, and it cuts you off after a certain time. Although Insta has extended it now to, I think, hour and a half. So do you guys want to say a big thank you to Sue? Throw some hearts up while you're at it. Don't forget to follow her page and support what she does. Sue, thank you so much for taking the time to free your thoughts.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Before you go, one last question I ask everybody. What are your afterthoughts? How has it been for you today on Free Flowing Thoughts?
It's good. I like to have interesting conversations about spiritualism and understanding and the world at large. You know, I live in my way, but I communicate with a lot of spiritual people. And sometimes when we do that, you know, we draw to us other people who are interested in spiritual stuff in a lesser or greater degree. So it's really good to have these debates, and I really enjoy it. It's really good. But just to say, I do a Tuesday night group, 7:30 on Zoom, so contact me, which is my spiritual development group. So I teach intuition development, spiritual psychic development. Every other week, we focus on doing mediumship. So if there's anybody out there that wants to develop as a medium, that's the place to do it. And every other week, we develop our intuition and our psychic gifts, which is really, Romeo, about finding that element in you that through meditation and practice, about that trust in, you know, opening it up and deep delving into that sort of thing. So Tuesday nights every week. So thank you, Sylvan, for having me. It's been a really...
You are more than welcome. This is Free Flowing Thoughts. For those who are watching, who hasn't come to this page before, hit the follow button. And for anyone that would like to actually have a Free Flowing Thoughts conversation with me, depending whether you want to turn up and have chit chat with Silver, which is a lot more energetic, or you want to have something a bit more atmospheric like this, just feel free to hit me up.
So the sun is a really positive, like, powerful, upbeat card.
Wait, sorry, 1 second. Where did that come from?
I just shuffled the cards and it jumped out.
Oh, okay.
So this is for you, Silver.
Oh, wow.
Bring light and sunshine into the world.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. I need to work more on that. It takes more time for myself in this very crazy moment. But thank you very much for putting that out. It just came out of nowhere. It's wonderful. Thank you, guys. Sorry, go ahead.
I said I was just shuffling and it jumped. I was laughing at Romeo's comments. He was like, he just can't believe what I've said to him. He's like amazed. Yeah. Good.
Thank you, viewers, for being present with us. And I'll see you on Friday whilst I'm talking to a female entertaining porn star. It's going to be interesting.
I might jump on there.
I'll see you then. Sue, have a beautiful night. Thank you once again. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Lovely.
Peace and love.
Bye, darling. Take care.
Bye. You can exit just up the left, or is it the right? There you go. Wow. Thank you guys for joining me. As I was saying a moment ago, if you'd like to have a conversation, any topic goes as long as it flows. Just hit me up. Inbox me. Let me know what you'd like to talk about, or we can come up with something and I'll make it happen. Every live is very different depending on who I'm speaking to. So yeah, peace and love. Thank you too, Romeo. Peace and love. And everybody that took part today in viewing and adding your comments. Life experience, as always. Thanks for your support.